Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. This is Christopher Dahl here. Thank you for watching the video so far. Hope you're enjoying them. Hey listen, briefly, if you want to see more of these videos, I do offer extended versions of them to all of our Patreon followers. So if you just go right over to Christopher Dahl, Space Art by Christopher Dahl over on Patreon, I'll have a link in the description below. Extended videos, sneak peeks at some of the projects I'm working on, and some other fun things as well. Also, at my Space Art by Christopher Dahl store, you'll see that we have some of the paintings from these videos available, either in prints or some of the originals. Thank you very much, and now on to this week's video. Alrighty, I'm going to grab a little bit of my Payne's gray here. And I just want to get some tones in the background a little bit, just to get our space in place. And this paper will just eat this up in no time anyway, so I just might as well get some tones down to begin with. Awesome. There we go. We have possibly both the parental units watching here tonight. That'll be fun. All right. I do like the fact that Casein is like acrylic water-based. It actually makes it real easy to work with. I enjoy that part. And as you can see, it goes on it can go on pretty thin here. I just want to get my space in. I like to work from the background forward, just to kind of get some color in here. And we can mess with this. Since it's space, it'll be darker later anyway, so that's okay. And I'm just going to get some color here onto the planet below. So the nice thing about these colors is, they're all blues, of course, but when I kind of get some oranges in here, it'll work out nicely for it. And like I said, we've got a planet that has just a thin atmosphere, so I'm going to kind of let that be muddy. And yeah, see, I painted right over my drawing, but that's okay. I kind of just wanted it there so I could place the spaceship. We're going to be painting this all in as we go. And get some color down here for the blue of the planet's surface. This is going to be a cold, almost icy world that has very little air. So it's not going to have a lot of clouds. We're not going to be doing clouds on this one. Awesome. There we go. And, well, I got those pieces in there. Look, I keep looking over at my monitor because sometimes I get glares here too, but I'm just trying to give this background something a little bit more. Oh, you're in Google Hangout too. A little bit of both. Awesome. I'm just trying to break up the background so it's not just a blank space, just black. I'm going to give it some fun. In fact, I'm going to do a little bit of the same thing. I figure I'll do this now before I get into going nuts with the ship. And the ship is a little high off the ground, so I try to indicate some features on this surface with a little bit of. I'm imagining this is a kind of a icy, very light atmosphere kind of moon. I really did a horrible job here. I don't really have this on making this look round. Sort of went off on it there a little bit. All right. So these humans have built settlements in tall buildings, but they're putting them in round craters. And let's just get some spacey structures here. So these are going to be just kind of, it's leaving them really, this brush is leaving them very, very pointy. I just want to get some kind of buildings in here. And like I said, our ship is flying pretty high above them, so I'm putting the darks in right now with the plan. It will come back in later and we can detail these things up, but that's really got a point. Holy smokes, that brush has a point to it. These are all going to end up looking. It's going to end up looking Turkish here. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There we go. But I like how, because the planet here, this paint is still a little wet, so it'll come on dark, and then kind of blend a little bit, which is really nice, especially if there's a little bit of water involved with it. So that's kind of when I approach paintings like this is kind of the way I like to go through it. I get the background colors in, and then we're gonna just work in some details, working with the darks. I mean, this is very much a Bob Ross thing too, so not that I'm making any of this up. Also kind of a general illustration tricks. Excuse me. This is a pretty thick brush, but the more lines I make in here, the merrier. And maybe we got sort of a... I'm going to go with the same technique here that I did for the buildings, and we're just going to kind of paint in our main shapes. And we're going to do it brutally and with black. So what will happen here is... Oops, a little more water to that. There we go. The goal here is to get in the main... I'm just going to kind of try to, in my mind, I have an idea of where the shadow zones of this vehicle are going to be. Yeah. Exactly right. I paint spaceships, so you can come back and give me some extra marks for that. All right. And again, I just kind of have a general idea of what this ship is going to be, and we're going to just have fun with it here a little bit. The one thing I forgot to do before I jumped into black, darn it, I was going to get in some real fun zippy colors, and I don't know of a better way to put that, so I might just do that anyway. I study a lot of John Berkey paintings, and he has a lot of things going on inside of his ships. There's a lot of windows, there's a lot of hints of environments inside, and it's a lot of that is just made up with color. He's a genius at this. He was coming off the back of this thing, and I want to make sure I get this right there. And I'm going to put in, I'm going with a lot of paint here. It's going to pick up some of the paint behind it. I'm also going to pick up some yellow. And I'm just going to kind of let it be a little muddy. And I'm going to let this be just a bit messy. And it's going on kind of thick, but I probably should have put I should have done this before I did the black, but, you know, too late. MSG paint. Yeah. And I'm going to kind of put it in thick. This is kind of, if you were doing oils, you can go in with this trick, and that's fine. And then I have some reds. I can drop some of that red on there. We're going to have a pretty active drive section of this ship. And while this paint is on there, I'm just going to kind of do some pulls. See if I can get some fun effects working. There we go. And I'm going to do the same kind of up here on the top. We're going to have some fun with this. Whoops, need more paint. I'm also guilty of always grabbing not enough paint as I go. There we go. Dare I say Cheeto color? Yes, indeed. This orange is the color of any Cheeto, any self-respecting Cheeto. You know. Alrighty. Probably way too... I know, green right here. Well, there's a plan. I have a plan. So I'm kind of envisioning this to be a lot of windows. So, I need some green in the background. Or green, blue, green. Might put some in over here. This is going to be a mess for a little bit until I start carving out the shape of the ship. I want to get some colors in. Okay. Yeah, I am really messing this up, but again, there's a plan here. I promise. We're gonna have one up here too. We're gonna have kind of a big dome thing up here. I'm gonna do the classic transparent, but I'm just gonna be a little bit. Maybe tonight I might just be a little more abstract with my approach, and as I get into it later, I'll tighten up the edges and the shapes a little bit. But as you can see, I'm kind of coming back in here with some white right now, just trying to build out some of the shapes. And if I'm not careful, I will go really deep on just detailing parts of this. So I want to just go a little bit further into it and build this thing up. There we go. And see if I can't get start dropping in some shapes here. And this is really messy. I do know that Berkey would probably stop at this point, let this paint dry, come back in a couple hours, and then continue working on it. But, you know, don't really have that advantage tonight. So I'm just going to let this kind of be a lot of sloppy color. And we will work around it. Alrighty. Saving some room here. Illustrators, they were using Casein, probably because they used it in their studios. All right, so now I got just a lighter blue, and I'm going into the city using the flat edge of my my brush, because I know I've got a lot of upright buildings, and I'm gonna kind of just give them a nice edge. The light's coming in from the right here. Yeah, Rafi, that'll give you something else to buy on those trips back to blickart.com. Excuse me. I'm sure they'd be thrilled to see you come in and grab them. Alrighty. So I give a few, and you know, you can impart so much detail with the edge of this brush. I just love this, just kind of coming in and dotting in these buildings and adding little bits here and there. Same thing with these edges. So there we go. And I will be adding some more color to it, but not quite as much, because I want the colorful thing in this painting to be this spaceship. So this is going to be pretty muted down here, but as long as I was working on this, why not get some structures painted in? There we go. So I'm kind of grabbing a lighter color, and I did some white with I warmed it up with a little bit of a yellow ochre, so I can get some highlights into these buildings here a little bit. And I've got a thinner brush. Hey, thank you, Rafi. You guys, you're awesome, Rafi. My gosh, absolutely. Thanks for coming. It's good to have you on the show here. Good to have you hanging out. And Clee too. I assume she's still there. So yes, Clee, you're awesome too. Very cool. And all the rest of you are awesome. You know, the unfortunate thing about the enamels, it seems like every time I turn around, Testers is removing colors and entire lines of their paint. It's very frustrating. They're owned by Rust-Oleum now. And thumbs up from Clee. Yay, hi. It makes me sad to see so many of their paint lines basically going away. I mean, most of the Model Master paints that used to see hundreds of colors in the racks, a lot of that is just flat out gone off of their SKU list. So I find that a little frustrating. All right, so now I'm kind of just working in here some little highlights. Just kind of not really sure what I'm gonna do with this. I just wanted to give it some shapes. There we go. Some little dots of some highlights here. Maybe hints of a monorail system, because monorails are cool. I have a Space Needle. Why not have a monorail? Yikes. All right. There we go. The only thing I'm thankful for is the fact that since I've gone so deep with painting here, I'm actually pretty comfortable mixing just about any color. So if it comes back to building spaceships again, since I have so many of the darn things in my garage, I'm actually pretty confident that I can go with, you know, maybe my 10 or 12 base acrylic colors, fluid acrylics and what have you, and um, mix up any number of colors for physical models. And of course, with the airbrush, which definitely is nice to have, the fluid acrylics go straight into it. Alrighty, and I'm just kind of using this paintbrush to sort of draw in details as I go here. And I'm trying to pay attention to where I actually had painted shadow spots before, because when you get them side by side with these, it really kind of makes it sing. So now I've kind of got this whole weird looking city going on. Alrighty. I think it's important. It's what do they call it? It's what they would call in a movie Easter eggs, right? I think someone was looking at it. I think there's I was reading an article there. A Turner painting, I think, had a bunch of. They were looking at it up close, and they had a whole bunch of. You could tell there were like hairs and bits of stuff just from whatever happened to be around his gallery at the time, which I love that. Turner was a monster in a good way. I'm still really bummed that I haven't been able to get back out to New York. My daughter's been going to college there, and obviously with everything shut down, the plan was I was going to go out and help her pack up and move back for the summer. Instead, we just sort of got her out of there fast, but the plan was to go visit some of these art museums, and I'd still like to do this. So they all, I mean, my gosh, that's, yeah, I haven't been in age. I actually don't think I've been, I actually haven't been to the Metropolitan Art Museum, so yay. Hopefully this fall, maybe. I'm on tap to help her move back in, so we will see. You know, love to. We're gonna get some yellow. I kind of dig this idea, and this is kind of an just when you throw in a bit of color, because it is a city after all, and there's going to be like lights and things. It will definitely make it a little bit interesting. So yay! So I'm going in with the yellow here just to sort of give it a little, it's going to pop against the blue, which is really nice, and it kind of, this still remains to this day sort of the universal symbol for light in building, a nice warm yellow light, even though everyone's going to brighter LEDs. But I figure we're going to have a few more of these, just dots of color here. I'll do a few others too, but I wanted to get the yellow ones in. Of course, the next thing, I'm going to grab a little bit of red, I'm just going to be judicious in the use of the reds here, but you got to figure there's going to be, if you look at the city shots at night again, one of the things you'll see are a lot of the little radio towers, the radio warning towers. Yeah, I'm just going to try to add a couple of those in. I imagine that's going to be an anachronism because you're probably not going to have a lot of little Cessnas flying over a city like this. Although, they have their own issues when they have gigantic ships coming in like that one. So, yeah. So we'll just put a couple more of these guys in. I really got that paint really wet. And a little less than that. We'll put just a few. I'll be less with the reds. But yeah, it's kind of giving a Seurat look here because your eye starts kind of seeing the different colors, and it adds to the chaos, especially on a scene like this one. Just kind of dragging the brush in and letting it do its thing. This is kind of, I love doing this kind of stuff and keeping it sort of sketchy. I don't know, there's something about this that's just a lot of fun. Righty, so now I'm gonna see if I can't, I have to turn my painting here. I want to get this, yeah, I want some vertical lines. This one right there is one. Okay. Come back here, clean this line up a bit. Oh, man. Paint keeps drying up here. All right. I'm trying to remember now. I'm coming back to revisit this ship, and I've forgotten where all my lines were, but it's coming back to me. So it might just be a second where I'm a little silent, but that's okay. We'll bring it all back. We're gonna bring it all back here, and it'll probably end up being a completely different shape than the one I had originally tried to draw, but that's okay. I'm gonna try not to completely go over all of the colors that I left on there too. So, yeah. Alrighty. We're going to be getting our motorhome rolling here. So there's already a request to do a trip upcoming that I'm going to see if I can't get it up to speed. It's actually not too far. There's only a couple of tiny things that really need to be dealt with, but so that'll be pretty fun. So we've got some hope here. There's a good chance we might be able to turn that into our own little mobile studio as well. Alrighty. So, I gotta tell you, this ship is totally different than what I was actually thinking of, but that's okay. I'm gonna go with it. All right. So as you can see here, I kind of got this. I've kind of got the form back a little bit, and it's got this really fun. All these blues and greens I put in for windows, I'm just kind of digging them. So they may end up being not windows. I don't know. We will see. But I'm just going to kind of keep adding some details with my black here. This really helps define the shape, and I like this part of it actually. So I'm just going to kind of keep. Oh my gosh, yes. Although I will say this, the last time we did a road trip was 2016, 2015. We went from Washington State back to Michigan, and it was interesting to me at how many places had pretty decent just straight cellular wireless access. We were not often without internet access just through our cell phone service. I was actually kind of surprised at that. So there's between Starlink and some of that. I mean, I know you're going to end up at spots that's going to be really tricky and difficult. I realize, but there's actually some opportunity out there. And with Starlink coming up, I'm cautiously optimistic. My only wish, and I think he's going to do this, is that they picked a higher orbit for them, and I think they're going to, if it takes off, because it requires a more expensive and heavier transmitter on these little tiny satellites. So I think later on this might actually happen, and there'll be less interference. Sorry, be less interference with telescopes and seeing the stars and such. But tell you what, the idea of getting fast internet all over the place, oh yeah, that would make this kind of a trip possible. So what I'm trying to do is trying to render in some kind of sophisticated mechanical engine linkage thing, and it's obviously going to be over this insanely powerful star drive that's going on in the back of this ship. So I'm just trying to paint that in with the blacks here, adding in some details. There we go. And this is equally fun. As much as I like doing the black bits, painting of that, coming in with white and adding details, that is a lot of stinking fun. Because this is where it kind of starts sculpting the ship a little bit, sculpting the shape. Alrighty. She wants to hear my bad ideas too. Awesome. You guys are doomed. I'm going to spend all your art money on motorhomes and components. Alrighty. This is kind of my favorite part of these paintings, is I should make sure everyone can see this, that I'm doing this. It's kind of coming in and doing these little fiddly bits. So it makes the ship complicated, and this is the hero part of the drawing anyway, is this one ship on the top here. So I'm trying to give it some fun. And I'm gonna have to do something a little different up here. So I'm gonna fill it in a little bit. Probably gonna darken it up again, but yeah, there we go. There's so many issues. It's out of hand, and basically, yeah, there are a lot of little things that I'm gonna have to spend extra money on to get. Whereas if I go to Bluehost, I kind of get them for free, which is really great. There we go. Kind of using this to get some shading under there. So yeah, good times. I am so done with GoDaddy. I've been frustrated with them for a long time. I was going to do it over the holidays and just didn't quite get to it. But yeah, now I'm. That's it. Wait a second. Everyone else kind of has this. Everyone else is kind of doing this for free, or it's part of their package. And hey, what's up with that? So I'm taking my next Monday, which is kind of a big day off for me. Well, actually, it's my next day off here, and we're going to be doing some. We're going to be doing some moves. Going to move the site, move the Dollhouse Baked Goods site, and my comic site. Yay! Good times. Alrighty. Oh, you've heard good. Yeah, I've been reading some reviews on the Matusor, and I'm hoping that yeah, I'm hopeful. It can't be any worse than GoDaddy, is the way I'm thinking of it right now. Even if they're terrible, they're going to be better. Yikes. Alrighty. A friend that used GoDaddy for a website. I'm just going to go ahead and find a place that isn't my camera line. Give it a quick couple of these. This is like doing the lens flare effect, I should say. And we'll just... I know it's kind of just drawing over the painting and relatively simplistic, but I'm going to just do it anyway. We're going to run with it. May not be the best. I want a couple of these on there. This might have been a mistake. Get this all blended in just a little bit. There's enough interaction underneath the... Whoa. A little too wet. There we go. We will make this work for us. Yes. These are the things I probably should have done earlier in the process, but that's okay. We will just have some fun with it. Whoops. A little bit of... There's no whoops. So I put my little engine thingy back in here. There we go. Engine hardware. I'm imagining that this is just some kind of gigantic magnetic, field inducer or something else. Some other technobabble. There we go. And because there's a lot of crazy red things going on in here, get some detail in with this orange. Whoops. Clean up the brush first. There we go. Using my Cheeto orange here to get some details in the dark zones. A lot of what I saw with Berkey's paintings were just a lot of light on dark and on light on dark and just over and over, and you eventually get this really crazy scene. Oops, scene. And it was just kind of a complexity. That's he just makes use of the darks and the lights, and I'm sure he has a natural talent for doing his buildings and spacecraft, which he didn't like doing. He had no real interest in science fiction, which I thought was pretty fascinating. I'm kind of trying to think of this as, I'm doing my own take on it, but that was too wet. Darn it. I don't want to completely copy the guy, because, you know, that's just kind of not cool, but I love the way he paints. Good folks. You're all excellent. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Alrighty. So now I'm kind of to the part where it's just adding bits of detail to the ship, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I've got this crazy orange paint here. And everywhere I'm going into these dark spaces, I'm trying to make it look like there's little windows and fun things. So yeah. There we go. Yeah, that darn streak I put on, I'm really not so happy with that, but we'll work around. Yeah, I'm going to put in my little dome again here. I'm going to put one back in up here. And I can see another place where I want to put some extra bits. Move it out of the way. And, you know, there really isn't much of a design to this thing. It's just kind of trying to do something kind of fun. So I'm remembering that I did my background with a lot of, I'm just going to come over this, grab a little bit of my Payne's gray. When this all dries, it'll blend. We hope. Yikes. Alrighty. So that's the weird thing about this Casein paint. It when it's wet, it kind of does a color change as it's drying. So I'll end up with maybe a column there that's a little mysterious. We'll see. I might just try to cover the rest of this up too. Might be a bad idea. I think maybe I'll just leave that alone. Okay. I'm going to have to really go over the top of that. We'll see. Yikes. I did have another, yeah, I wanted to put a yellow in here. I forgot to put yellow in here when I was doing my little streaks earlier, so I'm going to do a little bit of yellow. And I'm kind of trying to get it close to the orange and the reds and that white there, so the yellow becomes, of course, the sort of core hot spot. And when you do that little gradient, you get a nice effect. You get that sort of spectral effect going. I can do the same with a lot of the orange bits that I put in over here, and you end up with something that's pretty fun. And I'm noticing this paint's kind of getting a little dry, but I think I'm gonna put this in here for some detail in this sort of clear dome thing. Maybe I'll put some in on the windows here as well. Had one over here too. There we go. There we go. And we're going to put some stars on. So I got my little fan brush here. Of course, the stars are real easy to do. You just sort of throw them on there. There we go. Get some stars and stars upon theirs. Got some star-bellied sneeches. There we go. Alrighty. And I'm going to use a color that's not even on the painting. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom and do my sea doll. There we go. And it's going to be in a little pink, although that pink's fun, so maybe I should do a couple of dots of it in here too. I can't just call it good without doing a little bit of that, right? A little magenta for the day. Give it a little bit of presence in the ship itself. So something like this, I would totally I would love a painting like this as a book cover. I would love something like this on the wall of the house that was just like, I'm a sci-fi fan. And this isn't even from any particular show, but that's actually kind of cool. Just something a little different. Awesome. I'm pretty happy with it. So let me do, I like the final reveal. I tape off the edges of my paintings, at least on the illustration board here, which gives you the very nice, there we go. And there we are. That is our painting for the night. Spaceship over planet. I didn't do any of the, I was going to kind of make it sort of like a hospital rescue ship, but I think I'm just going to kind of leave it as it is. I'm kind of digging how it is right now. Thanks. Very cool. All right, everybody. Well, that is going to call it for the night. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for all the follows, and I appreciate the subscriptions too. That's really awesome. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Also, catch my weekly stream over on Twitch every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Thank you.